Today at 6, Storm Floris brings down trees, blocks rail lines and cuts power to thousands of homes. The storm across northern parts of the UK has prompted a warning of danger to life across much of Scotland until 11 p.m. Good evening. Strong winds from Storm Floris are causing widespread travel disruption across Scotland. Planes have been grounded, railway lines blocked by fallen trees and bridges closed. You can see here how the storm has moved northward throughout the day. An amber weather warning, meaning there's a danger to life, is in place until late tonight, with winds reaching up to 90 miles per hour. In a moment, we'll be going live to Peterhead on the northeast coast. But first, our Scotland reporter David Wallace-Lockhart is in the Highlands in Aviemore. David.
Rita, it's wet, it's windy, and you'll probably struggle to find many people in Scotland who haven't been affected by this storm, which is pretty much making its way across the entirety of the country. There's that amber weather warning in place, which tells people to stay at home unless it's necessary to get out and about. And judging by the roads in Scotland today, they do seem quiet. It seems that people are heeding that warning. But what this storm has brought is plenty of rain, plenty of wind, and plenty of disruption. Summer in Scotland. With winds reaching 80 miles per hour and rain lashing the streets, it's been a day for hunkering down. Storm Floris has battered much of the country and other parts of the UK. In most of Scotland, people were told to stay home, and it was easy to see why. This was in Inverness. The Makepeace family from County Durham found themselves at a campsite in the Highlands, right in the path of the storm, in a tent.
We did try to look to see if we could get into an Airbnb somewhere for the night, but unfortunately there is nowhere. But I think we've got a pretty good tent, we've got a good setup, so I feel like we'll probably be okay.
What's the plan for today then?
Somewhere inside. We're going to go to a soft play, I think, inside, let the kids burn off some energy and stay dry.
You may think a campsite would be quiet during a storm, but there's still business to be had near Aviemore.
We had a big motorhome pull up earlier just asking for space because he didn't want to be buffeted anymore on the roads, and we said, yeah, come along, we'll get you on, not a problem. So some people are not bothered, some people are. It's the way of life.
Disruption has been widespread. Flights to Scotland's islands have been grounded and venues that are part of the Edinburgh Festival have been closed. And there's been significant train cancellations, leaving some commuters stranded in the north of England.
I'm supposed to be going up to Glasgow and the train here has been cancelled. I can travel tomorrow.
Disappointed, let down, but what can we do? The weather, there's nothing we can do about that, is there?
For those who did get to travel, the journey wasn't always straightforward. This was a landing at Leeds Bradford Airport, not for the faint-hearted. And the roads came with challenges too. Driving up the A9 now towards Aviemore, and driving conditions definitely getting a bit more challenging, the wind really starting to pick up. Falling trees is a risk in summer storms as the wind struggles to pass through the foliage. Train lines and roads have been blocked. These train cables were in Stirling. A fallen tree even closed a pub in Skye. Storm Floris should head into the North Sea tonight, but its impact will be longer lasting. Over 20,000 homes are still without power, and students in Scotland have been warned there could be delays in receiving their exam results tomorrow. David Wallace-Lockhart, BBC News, Aviemore.
Well, we can speak now to Rachel Bell, who's in Peterhead for us. And Rachel, it looks extremely windy where you are.
It definitely is, Rita. For much of the day, this corner of the northeast has been looking towards the rest of Scotland, knowing that Storm Floris is making her way here, and in the last few hours she has been making her presence felt. As you can see, it is very gusty just now. We're experiencing gusts of around 70 miles an hour. We're at Peterhead Harbour. Now, usually on a Monday this is a very quiet place because the boats are usually out at sea, but today they're tied up, choosing to shelter in the safety of the harbour rather than braving the elements in the North Sea. And who could blame them? Just look behind you. Of course, this windy weather has caused disruption to travel across the northeast today. There have been no trains north of the Central Belt, and ScotRail say that disruption will continue into tomorrow too. There's been disruption to the buses, to the ferries, and of course to the roads, because the trees, which are in full bloom at this time of year. It's August after all, have come down, causing damage to vehicles and blocking the roads. There's also been power outages across the northeast this afternoon, thousands left without power. It has been particularly gusty just now. We very much are in the thick of it just now. In Scotland, the top gust speeds has been 80 miles an hour. The top recorded speed in August in Scotland is 87. Could we get there tonight? I don't know. It is very blustery here just now. That amber weather warning will be in place until 11 o'clock tonight.
Rachel, thank you very much for that. Rachel Bell there. Well, our climate editor Justin Rowlatt is with me. The question everyone is asking, Justin, is this linked to climate change?
Well, Rita, the story is not straightforward in terms of climate change. So we've always had big storms, even in summer, and it's very hard to find a pattern in terms of the frequency and intensity of those storms because it's always varied a lot year to year and decade to decade. The Met Office says there's no compelling evidence of storminess in terms of the maximum gust speed of storms over the last few decades. Wider studies in the North Atlantic say the same thing. So climate change doesn't, certainly at the moment, appear to be playing a role. Now, that said, most climate models suggest there will be a slight rise both in the number and the intensity of particularly winter windstorms. It's easy to understand why. The hotter it is, the warmer it is, the warmer the sea and air is, the more energy there is to drive the wind. The warmer the air temperature is, the more moisture it can hold, so you tend to get more rainfall as well. There's also a link with big cyclones. Warmer sea temperatures means they can track across the UK more easily. But the bottom line is this: at the moment, no strong link between climate change and storminess here in the UK.
Okay.
Storm Floris has hit large parts of the UK, cutting power to tens of thousands of homes and causing travel disruption to train services, flights and on the roads. Scotland has been worst affected, with warnings now that the delivery of exam results could be delayed in parts of the country because of the weather. An amber warning for wind came into force for much of Scotland at 10 a.m. and it will remain in place until 11 p.m. Wind speeds of over 100 miles an hour were recorded there. There's a yellow warning for the rest of the country, as well as Northern Ireland and parts of Northern England and Wales. Here's our correspondent Peter Smith with the details of the impact of the storm.
These fierce gusts from Floris battered into Scotland's west coast this morning. This wind wasn't so much howling as roaring. The RNLI had to be on high alert, but most heeded the advice and stayed in harbour. This yacht in Dundee was dragged out from its mooring. The Coast Guard were called to salvage it. This is a rarer storm because it's hit at the height of summer. Loch Lomond is a magnet for holidaymakers at this time of year. But today, the beauty spot became a battleground with the elements, with only one winner.
Were you expecting it to be this bad?
No, obviously I saw the forecasts and I thought, OK, worst case, we can just sit in the van and relax. But it's just been a case of like watching all these other poor camper vans get turned over and just trying to batten down the hatches ourselves.
Tourists are not drawn to Scotland for the weather, but Floris was bringing in wind speeds reaching almost 80 miles per hour here.
The water in Loch Lomond is often pretty calm, almost like glass. People would come here at this time of year to go paddling or out on boats, but there's none of that today. As you can see, the wind is creating kind of waves that you would find on the sea. It's almost surfable, and yet we're seeing people who are choosing today of all days to come here and go hill walking.
We spoke to some of those hikers coming off the hills with wet feet and a lesson learned.
When you look back, was this a good idea?
Nah. It was really bad when we were on top and then we were like, okay, let's go down now. We're all soaked and let's just go down.
And you're not going to be camping tonight anymore? A hostel, indoors?
We'll stay indoors.
You didn't know there was a weather warning today?
No.
And advice to stay inside? And...
No.
No? So you climbed the hill instead?
Yeah.
It wasn't just humans trying to make the best of these conditions. Opportunistic cows in Carfin spotted a farmer's fence had blown over and they took their chance to go on the move. As well as dealing with cattle on the road, drivers had to face other obstacles. A summer storm is exacerbated by leaves still on the trees. They act like a sail, bringing down even more debris. And trains were also cancelled across the country.
There's multiple incidents that are affecting the railway, and that involves trees on the line,
trampolines, sheds, things that are getting blown across the line and therefore stops us running a safe service.
The Edinburgh Festival was also disrupted and the doors of the castle kept closed. The military tattoo tonight has been cancelled due to weather for the first time in its 75-year run. This amber warning remains in place until late tonight, but the disruption to travel is expected to continue long into tomorrow.
You can maybe see the rain is still coming down here on the shores of Loch Lomond. We're reporting tonight that more than 20,000 homes across the country are still without power. It was as high as 28,000 earlier, but they have managed to about 8,000 homes have been restored. And we're hearing about that ongoing disruption to travel carrying on into tomorrow. That's because trains and ferries are not where they should be, and that will impact exam results tomorrow. Scottish students waiting for their exam results tomorrow. So island communities that are waiting on the ferry coming in, they are being told that unless they've signed up to receive the results on text or online, they should contact their school and be expecting a delay in receiving the results probably later in this week.
How unusual is it to see a storm like this in August?
Well, storms in August are actually not that unusual. We've actually seen 5 storms in August in the last 5 years. But what is unusual, and what the chief forecaster at the Met Office this morning referred to as climatologically absolutely exceptional, is the depth of that storm and therefore, of course, the wind speeds at this time of year. Now, of course, a storm is just a very deep area of low pressure, and as it approached the UK, it underwent what we called explosive cyclogenesis, which is when that area of low pressure deepens very rapidly and creates this storm. Now, earlier on, it swept across northern parts of the UK, and it's really this sort of hook back here where we're seeing the very strongest and most damaging, most impactful winds, and that is going to luckily rattle through quite quickly, but we've still got several more hours of some very impactful weather to come. So let's just remind ourselves of where we are with those weather warnings. Well, they really are across the northern parts of the UK, although it has been a very blustery picture right across the UK. An amber weather warning in force until 11 o'clock this evening. That's that middle bound of weather warning. And then, as you can see, for the Northern Isles of Scotland, that's in force until 8 o'clock tomorrow. So at least the strength of those winds means that that system moves through fairly quickly. But even so, as I say, we do still have a fair few hours more of quite disruptive weather to come.
OK, thank you, Becky.